feel is that Medicaid provides the highest level of service other than any other insurance company. So if you have Medicaid insurance, then you will qualify for wraparound mental health services. So you'll be able to see a therapist 1 to 2 times per week, and you can get a behavioral health assessment and a diagnostic assessment and a psychological evaluation once per year. So you can get all the different services that you need so long as you're provided, so long as you're covered by Medicaid. So definitely do not allow your pride, to kind of get in the way of getting good clinical treatment, especially if it's there. If you're a tax-paying citizen, if you don't qualify for any other insurance, go ahead and just kind of put in an inquiry to see if you do qualify for Medicaid. It's the people's insurance, and so I think that we should definitely take advantage of that.
And I also want to say that, personally speaking, I think if you go to church, pastors is almost like absolutely one of the best not free, but not in that aspect, but one of the best.
Because you're paying. That plate gonna come around. You're gonna pay.
Going to church and speaking to a pastor could be one of the most beneficial therapy things that you can use if you have time to willing to talk.
Absolutely.
Not just talking about God.
Not only just the pastor, but just a lot of different individuals. You have to start looking at it like this. When the fellas get together, and watch the game and have a couple of brews and they're kind of talking about their family and relationships, that's there. Yeah. Right? When you're headed to work, and you're calling your parents, say, can you just listen? I just need to vent really quickly, and I don't want to hear any advice. That's there. When the girls are getting together and they're having their wine nights, enjoying their shows, they're talking about the different things kind of going on in life, that's therapy. So we're actually doing this on an everyday basis. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And so, for us that are licensed therapists and practitioners in the field, what we're asking is for everyone to, at least to start shifting their mentality, and so if everyone is checking on their people, then everyone has someone they can depend on and count on, so we all have someone that has our backs. And then for those that need some deep, intensive clinical intervention and treatment and recovery, then you have those of us that look just like us, that are licensed, insured, and are readily available, and then we can go ahead and initiate some long-term treatment services for them. So, like I said, this conversation is always exciting to kind of have this convo because, the millennial generation is the generation that's changing the face of mental health, and that's something that we should all be proud of. And so it's going to take that continuous effort from us. And kind of digging deep and seeing what resources are available. Sometimes you may put the dead end, on one path, but trust me, there are a lot of different avenues to be able to pursue some type of service.
You guys are listening to Mr. Vaughn Gay, Assistant Director in Offices of Counseling at Morehouse. Anything you want to promote, any type of writings or read-ups or where they can follow you?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So you guys can definitely follow me on Instagram. It's at the ATLLPC. That's THEATLLPC. That stands for the Atlanta Licensed Professional Counselor. And then you can also, I have plenty of blog writings and stuff or what have you on my website for my practice. And my practice is called Holistic Atlanta. That's www.holisticAtlanta.com.
I thank you for your time. I know your time is very precious and you have a lot of people to tend to and things to, you need to self-relax. I know after a long day, but we want to thank you for joining Fully Loaded Podcast. And I'm pretty sure our listeners will definitely appreciate your notes and your insight of what you shared with us today.
Absolutely. I appreciate it. I actually took a day off today, and I have one off tomorrow, and then I'll get back in the flow. So I really appreciate you guys having me this evening.
Damn it, that's right. Use your sick days. Use them all up.
Yeah, I'm trying to say I practice what I preach, trust me.
All right. Thank you, man.
Take care.
All right, y'all have a great evening. Thank you.
Appreciate you, Vaughn.
All right.
To carry on the conversation.
Yeah, so that other voice you hear that is just like, I thought there were supposed to be two people. So we have on the line with us Free the Vision, who is a part of Silence the Shame.
Right.
And Free, you there?
I am here.
Okay, so I would rather just toss it to you because I'm pretty sure you would do a much better job of telling people the impact and the mission behind Silence the Shame. So.
Yeah. And first of all, thank you for having us. Vaughn is the person who kind of works with Silence the Shame as almost our in-house resident. He's a really cool guy, as you guys I'm sure can see just from the conversation.
Right.
But for Silence the Shame is a movement started underneath the Hip-Hop Professional Foundation, which was created and founded by Shanti Das. And for those who don't know who Shanti is, it will be in everyone's best interest to probably Google Shanti. She's really a industry legend She is the person who broke Outkast and Tony Braxton and TLC and worked with some of the top people in the business, from Prince to A-Marie, and like just historically in the mix of pop culture. And based on her own personal journey with mental health, as well as, her father committed suicide when she was 7 months old, it inspired her to start a movement that would be able to reach into the culture and just reach into people and peel back the layers of stigma and shame behind mental health. And so I work alongside Shanti as her co-host of our podcast, which is Silence the Shame, on all platforms that you access podcasts on, as well as I am the content strategist for the Silence the Shame movement, and just some of the things that we have going on with Shanti. So we've done a lot of work in the community as far as awareness programs and doing panels and different things like that. We've had a textathon that is still live and going on, where we've been raising money to increase programs and awareness surrounding mental health. We have partnered with the Jack and Jill Foundation to do a 7-city tour of with teens discussing depression and suicide prevention. We have we've been on a Breakfast Club and Ebro and just a lot of different platforms to just really spread this message, because mental health is something that everybody has. Mm-hmm. And I think that when people hear the word mental health, they automatically think of bipolar and schizophrenia and, depression, anxiety, and different things like that. But it literally is just what I called it, is mental health, is brain health, and just keeping up with the status of where your thoughts and your mind are. But mental illness and mental health are not the same thing. Mental illness is where it would go more into those diagnoses to very specific illnesses or things that may be borderline personality disorder and some of the things that you might have heard. But people hear mental health and kind of shy away from it because no one wants that stigma behind being quote unquote crazy, when that's a word that we're trying to get rid of, or they don't want to feel as if something's wrong with them that can't be seen or that they may feel can't be fixed. And so we just want to kind of erase that stigma, erase the shame behind it, so that people can come out and actually have conversations and feel comfortable to seek help, knowing that help is there, and educate them on the help that is there, and just let them know that being vulnerable is not a sense of weakness, but it's a sign of strength. So that's kind of like a nutshell of Silence the Shame. I personally got involved due to, just a passion for what Shanti is doing. And on a cultural level, I'm a very in the culture kind of person. So my connection to this is that I always want us to be good. You feel what I'm saying? Like I talk and feel just like everybody else does. Right. A lot of people sometimes might hear this topic and want to shy away from it because they feel like it's above my head or it's too heavy. You know what I mean? Or like I don't know how to necessarily tap into it or address it, but I'm just like you. All of us are just like you. Vaughn, who is a therapist and, of course, distinguished in a great position and a great licensed care provider, but he's just like us. You can talk to anybody, and you want to feel that you can have that conversation. And you want to feel like you're not being judged, absolutely, or being looked at completely different, or that when you sit across from the person that you're talking to, that you're the other. It's not like that. This is something to where, though it may be a serious conversation and though it may get deep at times, we can still talk about it from a cultural perspective, from an open and honest and perspective, and make it as able to be consumed in a way that everybody's able to get it.
My brother's in the building. He had a question. He want to know, how do you support a friend without pushing their buttons or triggering them?
How do you support a friend without pushing their buttons or triggering them? That's a very good question. And though I do not deem to be Vaughn and licensed to give you the perfect answer, but I will say this. So working on the content side, I have co-produced and we are working with some really dope people. We have this documentary that's coming out, a docu-series that's coming out on teen depression. And one of the people that we had involved was the artist Lecrae. And he said something that I think is really good that applies to this. And he said, sometimes you need someone who isn't trying to fix you, they're just trying to face you. So instead of having someone that you go to that's kind of like, well, let me just tell you, you really shouldn't feel like this because you got a good job, or, you know, you shouldn't feel like this because, more so having someone that listens to you and who gives you the space to speak your mind, even when your mind sounds cluttered, or even when your words or your voice is shaking, or even when your words are not making sense, but just someone who's there to listen to you and then give you that space to let you know it's going to be okay. You know, because speaking gives you a little bit more of a lighter load by being able to express it and get just some of the baggage of it off. And I know that everyone, no matter who you are, no matter your tax bracket or anything, I know that everyone has been in the position where they needed to vent. And the vent was kind of, I'll say the word ugly. You know what I'm saying? Like, you needed to vent and just get it out. I just need to say this. I know it's not coming out right. I know that I'm not saying something that might sound perfect or something that might not even be socially acceptable if not in the right setting. But you have to just go and get something off your chest, and there's nothing that feels like being able to do that and then walk away and feel like, man, I'm glad I got that off of me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's real. So let me ask you. Oh, no. Well, go ahead. Finish your point.
No. I mean, but just for the most part, I would say in order to not push them over an edge or trigger something, you have to also ask the right questions by just listening to them, but let them respond to you. Don't come with your preconceived notions about them or what they're saying.
Okay, that makes sense.
So let me ask you. So I can tell y'all are doing great work with Silence to Shame. I'm a little ashamed that this is my first time hearing about it, but I feel like I represent probably a decent number of people. So how do you get involved? Like, how do we become a part of, you know, progressing this movement, this organization?
Well, first of all, thank you, and it's okay that it's your first time hearing about it. It's all good. It's a growing movement, and you know, that's the purpose of it for us to spread awareness. But you can follow us on our social platforms at Silence the Shame, which you'll see a lot of the different things that we're doing. You'll see a lot of different things that we've done. We also had Carrie Hilton on one of our panels back in February, where she shared her story for the first time about her battle with depression. And so you'll see that, you know, we're trying to really approach this mountain with an honest perspective that is not only cultural and because Shanti's background is in entertainment, but cross branding and working with those who are in the industry, but also from a medical standpoint as well, and become that liaison between the two. Because at the end of the day, like I said, I'm as much in the culture as everyone else. I have ambitions and things that we all are doing and that we're working toward, that we believe in. But if you just follow us and check us out, you'll see that this is what we're trying to make it. We're trying to make the load lighter. We're trying to make people feel lighter and be open and honest about where they are in their lives. I might be speaking to some others out there who understand, but like, there's so many different things that could be triggers. I've been an entrepreneur, and being an entrepreneur is very difficult. There's many a times where you feel lonely. There's many a times where you feel broke, which can be a trigger within itself of how am I going to make it. And, you know, I have been able to come out of where I'm from. I'm originally from Jersey, low income area. And I just know that there are things that breed psychological challenges. And what happens in those spaces is just that it triggers you to get wrapped up into sometimes a circle that you're not, when I say circle, I'm talking about psychologically, but a train of thinking that you don't really know how to spiral yourself out of or climb yourself out of. And so Silence the Shame